Hello, everyone. I am Ramon Duran, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Joy Beyond Dentistry. Thank you for joining us once more, and I'm here with my co-host,
Noemi Cruz Orca. Good to see you, everyone. And we have a very special guest today. We cannot wait to share her with you and her story, so stay tuned.
We got Karla Soto. Quite honored to have you with us, and I'm going to read a little bit about her, but you will get to know her in the next few minutes. So, Dr. Karla Soto is passionate about sharing the power of digital dentistry, facially generated comprehensive treatment planning, and the emotional connection that transforms patient care. She has lectured across 5 continents on how embracing the digital revolution can create a more productive and fulfilling practice and experience. A DSD KOL, Align Global Faculty, Advisory Board Member, and KOL for Ivoclar, Springray, NSK, and VHF and Modis Coaching faculty. Dr. Soto has received multiple honors, including DSD Speaker of the Year, Strong on Purpose Award, and Align Case Shootout Campaign. She is the co-founder of Smile Again, a nonprofit providing smile makeovers to survivors of domestic violence, and also leads international dental missions. As a lifelong learner, course graduate, speaker, alumna, and she founded Key Elements to help clinicians connect the dots of interdisciplinary digital dentistry. Dr. Soto practices in Boca Raton, Florida, where she enjoys life with her husband and her 2 daughters, often exploring the world together. Quite an honor to have Karla Soto here with us today.
Oh my
And
God.
the first time I met you, Karla, which was a little bit over 4 years ago, you might recall that I stood up at the end of your lecture, which was amazing. And I told you these words that I'm sure you will never forget. And I told you this: you have quite a contagious passion that is really amazing, and I haven't heard that in many, many years. I use this word, contagious burning passion. And that's, to me, that's the best way to describe you.
Oh
Don't
my
you think
goodness.
so, Noemi?
I would totally agree, and you just describe it exactly how it's felt. Karla has a passion and energy that, attracts people to her, and in a way that is inspiring to others. And that's why she's here with us, because our podcast, the main goals is sharing passion and purpose, and how do we find it in life. And she's a perfect person to be here with us today.
My goodness, guys, that's so kind. That's so sweet. And Ramon, yes, I will definitely never forget the interaction when I met you. And ever since, there's like talk about passion and sharing passion, like our passion together, right? Ever since that moment, we've come a long way in so many ways. Hopefully we get to share at least a little bit of it today with everybody.
Yeah, got a lot to thank you. And if you have never had the opportunity to be in a lecture with Karla Soto, you don't know what you're missing. You got to listen to her. So let's get started. Karla, can you, I talked already about you, but I want the audience to let's hear about your journey and where you started and where are you today. Go ahead, Karla, please.
So, in terms of my professional journey, it's actually quite simple, and I think it's the journey of a lot of us, right? It's someone that was practicing dentistry in their own little, like almost like in solitude kind of thing, like in your own little practice. And I was just really passionate about learning and learning and learning and learning, and I came across some I call it almost like angels in my life that really like gave me some very specific tips and specific things. One of the angels was like my brother and surgical mentor. His name is Julio Seckler. He's a Harvard grad, perio, but he was really someone that, really kind of believed in me from the beginning. And instead of like, oh, I want to do stuff, I came very well prepared surgically, but he was like, he taught me so much surgically. And then I had another mentor, was a restorative mentor, Steve Wang, and he was like, oh, please, like, let me show you, let me teach you, like, do this, do spear. He's the one that told me to do spear. So that's kind of like more like later on in life, right? I was probably maybe like practicing already for like a little bit, almost 10 years in the regular analog bread and butter way. So I'm a third generation dentist. And when I say that, everyone's like, oh, Nepo baby kind of thing. And it couldn't be further from the truth. But I mean, I'm Venezuelan. I was raised in Venezuela. I came to the US for dental school, did a residency that allowed me to already experience comprehensive dentistry at the Baltimore VA. So I was doing all kinds of surgeries, all kinds of like cosmetics, everything in that 1 year. I almost placed almost 200 implants on that year. And I was exposed to so much. The faculty is incredible. So that really gave me a taste of what I wanted. And I joined my mom's practice that she had just purchased so that I would come practice with her. And then I'm like, I'm doing a residency by, so I think, I mean, in a like really hopefully short story, that's kind of like my professional journey. And then I was just passionate about, you know, like the big picture and life-changing cases. And then digital came into my life, right? Man, talk about right place, right time. I'm sure you both have situations on where you're in life because of right place, right time. I'm not calling it luck, but I do think there's a like tiny little bit of a sparkle of luck and the passion and the drive and sacrifice, man. I mean, this is in this room, this is like, we are addicted to continuing education, the beginner mind, and always learning. So I think that's really kind of like the key to everything.
Yeah, I agree with that, Karla. It's not necessarily luck, it's that serendipity part of life, right? That gets you at the right place with the right people and somehow that, you know, sparks. So that's right to hear. So you mentioned you're third generation. What were you thinking about dentistry since you were little? Was that something that sparked later on? How did that develop?
Great question. You see, like now being an educator, it's the craziest thing when people find out that I did not want to be a dentist. And even as a third generation, so you see Venezuela. So my dad, it's crazy. My grandfather was a neurosurgeon. He was like a big deal in our city in Venezuela. My dad was my biological father was a neurosurgeon. My mom's a GP with surgical, you know, background. So you would think that it's like, you know, that's exactly what you want to be. And I didn't want to be that. I knew I wanted healthcare. I was pretty much going to medicine. And then I've always been artistic and I wanted to do something with my hands. So I decided literally the month before applying to dental school to take the DAT, forget medicine, take the DAT and apply, which was kind of like a crazy turn of events. And it's because I wanted to use my hands all the time. I'm sure you could do surgery in medicine, but there was just something like, I don't know, one of those decisions that you just make and then look at us kind of thing. But no, I did not want to be a dentist. And another fun fact, as an educator now in dental school, I barely went to class. I would show up for exams. Once I got to third and fourth year, it was different because I loved the lab. I loved clinic, but class, I mean, I didn't really speak English either. So I hated going to class. I didn't really understand conversational English. So like if I was called upon or like asked something, I couldn't really understand it. So I would do like all-nighters and study but I really wasn't a good class goer kind of thing. But kids don't follow those steps.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, those first 2 years of dental school were brutal, like 8 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday in lecture. So yeah, well, thank you for sharing that.
I mean, that's why everyone hates dental school, and it's so far from reality and what actually we get out there to do. You know, I don't know how it is now because I am old and I did graduate 20 years ago. But I do think there's like schools really should just put a little bit more of like real life and like patient exchange and experiences like from the beginning. You know, it's like you're like killing yourself for 2 years and then like you don't really see what you're doing it for.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Totally right. So, and then, I mean, talking about joy, which is one of our topics, can you share with us what are kind of things that brings you joy in your personal life, in your practice, and overall, what brings you joy in life, Karla?
Sure. I mean, that's three things, Ramon. So in life, in my practice, personal practice in life, that's like a 3 hour. Do you have 3 hours? Okay, let's summarize it. I do think, man, life is short. And I think there's always two ways that you can look at every situation in life. And even through struggle or even through situations, and I do think it's a little bit innate in like the Latin culture to like find like energy and dance through it and like, through struggle. But I mean, life is short. I'm married to an emergency room physician that sees it every day. I mean, he brings that philosophy very much. So you're marrying a literal marriage of like this joy of life plus like life is short. Then it becomes like living life to its fullest and also professionally like going all in so many ways. So what brings me joy? I mean, truthfully, authenticity, authentic relationships, interactions, people, definitely that energy for sure. That's kind of like the blanket statement. But, professionally, it does translate into the gift that we have in our hands and to be able to create something that can change someone's life, that can have like you're literally permanently tattooed on someone's life for their milestones, for their big moments. And the fact that you get to do that with your hands, this person is living their life, you could change someone's trajectory completely. So professionally speaking, when it comes to patients, of course, I mean, that is my biggest joy. It could be like I had almost a 13-hour day this week. And it's at the end of the day, you're like physically exhausted, but with so much fulfillment. So professionally, that brings me a lot of joy. And I could translate that to the joy that it gives me for my colleagues to be able to, share some of these experiences or some practical ways on how to practice in a way that's fulfilling, because our job is gruesome. So that brings me so much joy. I was in Sao Paulo, I was lecturing in Sao Paulo, and I can't get over this moment where I mean, it was the biggest Align event of South America. And I was a pretty big stage, and I was done with my lecture. I got off the stage. I was like getting my mic off, and then someone that I didn't recognize came to me, like hugged me. I'm like, I'm a hugger, so I'm like hugging. And then she's like, I have so much to thank you for. I'm like, think that those moments, like, and she's like, my daughter saw you lecture like 3 or 4, it must have been 4 years ago. And she is a prosthodontist now. You inspired her to go all in. You're she's like, I cannot thank you enough for allowing her to see what was possible and for her to go that route. And I was like, I mean, I'm a girl power kind of person. So like a woman and like a mother, and that was just like a full circle moment. So what brings me joy, those moments, and there's so many of those. Being an educator, it's a lot of hard work. I'm literally all day, it's like ACD, like working on my lecture, working on the workshop, working on it's so much work. And those are the reasons why. It's not being on stage, it's not getting the spotlight. It's those moments when you hear it's the Ramon after my lecture coming to me, and that's a connection for life, So personally, I think professionally, those are the two things that bring me the most joy. Personally is, of course, my family. I have 2 teenage daughters. Showing them the world, trying to create 2 humans that are good, seeing them in interactions now that 18 and a half and 16 and a half, seeing them navigate the world as a kind human. To me, to be a good person is the most important thing, integrity and honesty, but kindness. That brings me so much joy to just see the little humans we're creating. I mean, you're both parents, so I'm sure you resonate with that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's really nice to hear. And I bet you, as people who are listening to Karla, can you feel the energy that I was talking about at the beginning? Ain't that contagious?
Aww.
It is. Now, and I love something you pretty much, in a nutshell, what you said, that it's human connection, right? Like that what brings us the most joy, and that's the purpose. that, either
Yeah.
at home with our kids, like
Wow.
guiding them towards their independent lives eventually, our patients, serving them, and the people that you get to inspire by educating. So helping others in those ways absolutely bring you joy, and all of us. So thank you for sharing that. That was
I
gave me
mean, you guys
goosebumps.
know, no, thank you. And I actually remember very well too when I met you, Noemi. We can talk about that one later. But it's, we're talking patients, we're talking our colleagues. My team, it's a big one for me. Like to see their growth and their fulfillment, and how we do things with intention and leading. It's almost like parenting. Like I don't know if you feel this way about parenting, but like every situation is a teaching situation, and it's exhausting. Like everyone's like, oh, parenting and my beautiful girls, and they see them on social media and like they're so perfect. Like, look, they're humans under construction. Like we're still building. Right?
That's so true.
I tell Danielle, especially because she's still at home. She's like, you're still under construction. Do you want to learn anything or no? Because I mean, 16 and a half year old, teenage girl, you can only imagine. But so for team, and then of course the three of us share something that we're super passionate about that gives us fulfillment and joy, which is like, now that you have this gift, and the three of us have been so privileged to be able to have thriving practices, because I do think when you do things for the right reason, the magic happens in the numbers part and everything else, right? So, and then the fact that we get to now give to like underserved communities, and to travel the world, and to go to rural like Honduras and literally do like comprehensive dentistry, like the joy that I get from seeing, not just the fact that we're taking care of people, that's amazing, but the joy that I get to see us come together, it's that one I can't even describe.
And
I cannot wait
we
to
want to
get to
hear a
that
lot
part.
more about that, and we're going
Yeah.
to get to it in a few minutes. So, I mean, our profession, and you mentioned that, I mean, it's tough, it's challenging, and there's so many things going on, team members, the suppliers, the patients. So there's so much going on, but it's the why we do what we do that keeps us going. So, and you well know about that. So, would you like to share with us what have been some of those challenges that you have had in your career that have challenged your sense of joy?
Wow. I mean, we all have moments. I mean, I am, my practice is potentially at the best moment we've ever had, in not just financially, which financially we had the best month of our life in March. But that's not what I mean. It's more like the chemistry and the flow and the, like, we are stressed together, but we're laughing our butts off together. Like literally, I actually took a video at the end of Thursday. It was like almost like 7:30 p.m. It was like we had 2 full mouth reconstructions and da. So like we're like people flying in, you have to get it done before they go. And we, like, at the end of the day, like the girls come, like my team, like the team lead on the clinical and administrative, which I mean, I have a 3L practice, so it's not like team lead of their own department because there's not that many others to lead. But he came to the back and we were joking and dancing and literally laughing. We were crying laughing. So, but that doesn't mean that even in these times or even in the best month ever, you don't have the struggle. So, I mean, I have specific milestones of struggle that I can share. I mean, I think everybody talks about COVID. And professionally speaking, COVID was a very difficult personal time too, because I am married to an emergency room physician. So there was a lot going on in our household. When people were talking about COVID times, oh, everybody's on vacation and blah, blah, blah. I was dealing with someone that was on a respirator for like 13-hour days, and he would come home, we'd hose him down in the garage. So personally, that was but professionally, why was that a tough time? Because I literally had just finally bought the practice from my mom 3 months before. So I am a new owner with a boatload of debt. And I am now dealing with, we were all dealing with something because of the uncertainty. But I do think there was a little element of like, man, it was like just 3 months as a new owner where I was already trying to change things and figure things out. And it was particularly interesting because I said I had just bought, but the buying process to buy from my mom was emotionally draining. It took us about a year for me to finally finish that transaction, because it was a very personal thing, you know. And when you talk about struggle, I mean, I guess I should say I practiced with my mom. She opened the practice a year before I joined. She opened it so that we could both practice together. And if you're in a Latin family, you know that there's we're the tightest ever. And then there's some emotional drama that happens. And I'm very close to my mom. I want to say that my mom is my original inspiration as a woman, as a mom, as a professional. All my bedside manners, all my connection with people and patients comes from my mom. So I'll just start with that before people start thinking, oh, like Karla's mom, whatever. She's incredible. I mean, I could have hours of stories from stuff that my mom has done. That's just the most badass thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I imagine a year of emotional struggle to try to practice. And to give a little bit of perspective, became digital at the end of 2017. I took, it was DSD and becoming digital. And then 2018 was the best year the office has had in the history. My own personal collections went up for 70% just from that, not working more, not more marketing, none of that. It just happened because I really embraced the digital revolution and started doing much bigger cases. So then I had been begging my mom for years to I want to buy the practice. I'm too strong to be like sharing. Like I was doing all the tough stuff, like hiring and firing and all the difficult patients, all the tough stuff. But I was compensated as an associate, sort of, depending on the month. So it was like, no, I'm not gonna like buy half and then share and then do no, I'm right. Like I want to buy. And then I had even started the process. I was so desperate to like really like I had so much energy and like I had so many ideas, and our management style is very different. So I wanted to like, take over, and she just was not ready. And my mom's like very young in spirit and in energy and everything. So that was a huge struggle. 2018 was the biggest year of the practice life. And now my mom's like, okay, I'm selling. I'm like, okay, the office had the biggest year ever because of me. And now you're selling to me for my own growth. Her dream was always to give it to me, but it just really wasn't realistic. My mom had to go through dental school again. She opened a practice a year before I joined. I mean, financially speaking, it just didn't make sense. And I never expected that, but I also didn't expect to buy myself. So by the way, digital happened because I bought the on my own pocket, right? So it was all this emotional stuff. And at the end of the day, the Christian was like, Karla, I mean, he's a 6th generation, big mentor, big friend. Shout out to Christian Coachman. He's like, and I was like, I had like talking to everybody this whole year. I was like, complaining. And he's like, Christian was like, Karla, just buy, like, you're going to make so much money. Who cares about the money? Just like buy it outright. Like, just stop like trying to negotiate. At the time, yeah. I mean, yeah. And Ramon, I can see how you have that mindset too, right? But at the time, you have to imagine there's an emotional, like, maybe it wasn't the money that it was hurtful. It was more like, man, I built this, and there's not even an acknowledgement of, like.
I get it.
Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that we had this year because you went digital, because you bought the ICR from your pocket, and you da. But this, like, I think, and if my mom hears this, she's gonna probably be upset that I'm portraying them that way, because my dad was involved too. My stepfather, that's my dad, who I consider my dad. My mom was like, she's like, I mean, no, this is my practice. And so I think that it was more the no acknowledgement, I think, that really kind of like was kind of like what hurt. So struggle, very long story short, struggle. That was an emotional struggle. Then then COVID happened. It's like, dude, like what? I have like over $1 million like in loans and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, dealing with keeping team, like I paying people, because I am all about team and the people, and I didn't have a lot of the benefits that a lot of like other owners had with like government help and stuff, because I had not an established 2019 anything, so I didn't have any of that help. So it was a struggle, Ramon, if you're talking about struggles, professional struggles. But like, I guess it goes with Joy Beyond Dentistry. But I had experienced so much joy from the kinds of cases that I was doing, and I was doubling down on that. So even through COVID and all of that happening, I bought my second iTero. I doubled down on systems. I kept going to the office. I kept some of my team members. Some people that I had just hired too, because I was changing stuff. So I had just hired. I gave them like paid. They didn't have that benefit, but like I gave them like a week or 2 weeks, like paid off to see at the beginning, right, to see where it was going. Some of those people disappeared, didn't even thank me for it. So when you talk about struggle and people taking advantage of, that's probably my biggest pet peeve in our profession, people taking advantage of you. But again, talking about joy, double down on it, double down on systems, double down on the people that I trusted. And then fast forward, I mean, June came, the biggest month of the history ever. I think a lot of us experienced that, but I didn't know. Nobody knew that was happening, that was going to happen, right? And in 2021, even with all that struggle, in 2021, January 2021, I basically had no team. Some people left for maternity. Some people moved countries. I mean, COVID was just 2020 was such a weird time. And then 2021, January, I was literally like answering the phones. Like, imagine this, 2021, I'm already lecturing and I'm like showing all of this, but like I'm answering my own phones too. So it's that humility thing that comes with practice ownership, changing chairs and stuff. That was a big struggle, Ramon. But you just believe in it. You stay your authentic self. You double down on what you believe. You bet on yourself. You invest in yourself. I started COIS in 2020, which everybody, if anyone's on COIS, you know what an investment that is. It's super expensive, right? So again, I just think that you just believe in yourself and then just go all in.
You know, I think.
Thank you, Mom. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I am. If my mom is listening, I am everything I am because of her. So,
and I think the first time I saw you speaking on, I think it was an Invisalign webinar during COVID. I think it was during COVID. I would have not thought you were going through any of that. So, like you said, you were teaching, you were answering, you were doing it though, and through that, look at where you're at now, and you kept going. But I wouldn't have thought that you were going through all of that at that time. And when the first time I saw you was during COVID. In one of because I kept watching all the webinars during that time. Right. So that was like, that was what we all did, right? So
right.
Thank you for sharing that. So Karla, how did your passion, like for, with all of that going on and you still have a passion to give to others. And with that, how did Smile Again develop? Like what sparked it? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, financial stability, it's never evident if you're a practice owner. Like, and this could be a completely different conversation where we go depending on where you are in your journey, right? So I think most people start as associates and then depending on where you're at and all of that. But there's two sides to Smile Again. I had done mission trips when I was in dental school, and it was one of the most memorable, most fulfilling things I did during dental school. The connections, the people, the gratitude, the true human soul coming out. When we just talk about some of my passions, is also like you guys, traveling and experiencing the world and experiencing the human soul in different ways, and it's just the most beautiful thing. So, seeing the gratitude, I mean, we were doing, it's not like the mission trip that we do where we're doing comprehensive digital dentistry and like chairs. Right. It was no electricity, no water, no sterilizing or anything like that. I mean, we were boiling water and that's how we were sterilizing instruments, but none of that. And there was this sense of community and this sense of like of gratitude. People were bringing chickens and mangoes, and like so there was like this group of girls that I treated, and then they wanted to, like, I was, imagine a week with no water, no electricity. I'm like, I just want my hair washed. So like, I just want to wash my hair. And then these girls like came and brought a generator and washed my hair and blow dried my hair. I mean, just like these like super like small moments that like really like make a mark. So that's one side of, what really sparked that passion for Smile Again. And I always said, I want to do this again. And then I got married. So I graduated dental school. I got married like the week after, and I got pregnant 5 months later. So all of these dreams of like traveling the world and doing these things with my then husband, like, I'm like, okay, now I have a baby, which is a different struggle that we can talk about at a different time. Yeah. And then I was like, then of course, very early in my career. And I was like, once my kids are old enough, I want them to experience something like this. I think everybody should experience something like that. So that was one side. The other side was I've always been a proponent of like empowering women. My childhood was very interesting, and I witnessed my mom, like, man, what a warrior. That's why I say, like, there's all of these things, but my mom is just like incredible. So my biological dad, who was an oral surgeon, very prominent oral surgeon at the time, I now as an adult know that he was bipolar, but I didn't know. And my mom always protected us and suffered in silence kind of thing. But we experienced some things that just like, it wasn't right. And I'm not going to say my mom is a domestic violence survivor per se, but I think literally live in this conversation, if we brainstorm and name it, you could say she was. So I experienced that. And then I've always been, and then I'm married to like a full-on feminist. Like Alpha is like all about women, and we have 2 girls too. So, I always wanted to do something, because I do think there's something so beautiful about the gift that we have. And when we give smiles, it's not just health, it's not beauty, it's not superficial. We are giving confidence. So I wanted to put something together to help. And it's not just women and domestic violence. It's also like just disenfranchised groups or people that don't have access to things. So Smile Again was born from those 2 kind of like experiences in life. And of course, who I married to, because we're co-founders, it's my husband and I. And then it just became this, like, it was now time. What the vision is so that we grow it to the point where there's enough funds so that people like you, Noemi, or like Ramon, you have a patient that you want to do a pro bono case, and we supply funds so that you can, the expenses and the lab fees and stuff like that. There's plenty of dental groups doing that. I just wanted to make sure that we would be able to do something meaningful and giving, because I was given so much. I've been given so much somehow. I don't know why.
I love that. You say that, and it reminds us, like, we have been blessed. Even with challenges, we have been blessed to be able, and this is something that I hear Ramon say often, that we have been blessed to be able to do what we do, and even among challenges. And I mean, what you guys have, I remember learning about the Honduras trip, and I was like, well, my kids are little. Maybe I shouldn't leave them and go to a place that I don't know, but I remember I signed up the last day, right? Like, I remember sending a message. I'm like, I woke up at 5 a.m. and something told me, it's like, you need to go. So I texted you, like, okay, today is the last day. And pretty much I signed up. And for a while, I was a little bit, I'm like, what am I doing? My mom thought I shouldn't go. But then what you say, when you're there, and we think like we're going to help others, right? But what we experience, and I want to share this, is a type of love that I had not experienced before. And it was some, seeing the girls and interacting with them and seeing their joy, and also how they wanted to give to us. It was like, I tell patients this, I keep going back, because I compare it, even though it's not the same. It's like, when you have your first child, that is something that you had never experienced before. It's not the same type of love, right? But like going there and the joy I experienced that whole week, it was something like you don't experience, not even in your own practice serving your patients, because we're getting paid for it. That is just a different feel. So
Different.
I have to thank you for doing this, because you are, also not just bringing joy to them, but like to us that get to participate on this as well. So thank you.
Oh my
There's no
gosh.
question that we end up
Mhm.
getting a lot more than what we give. I mean, it's just such a fulfilling experience. As you know, I didn't have the opportunity to join you on the first year. I couldn't make it. My heart was there with you. And last
100%.
year, it was so unbelievable. And now I'm joining you again this summer. And again,
Yeah.
could you share with the audience a little bit of what has been the outcomes of these two trips? Because it's just unbelievable the amount of dentistry that has been done there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Can you share some of that information if you have it at hand?
I just know it. I don't have anything open
Yeah.
here. I just know it because I can't, like, again, when I said the joy, like, talk about joy beyond dentistry. Sure, there's the joy of the actual dentistry that we're doing, but this is beyond.
It is.
I mean, and so beautifully said, Noemi, by the way, that got me really emotional. Love that you had never experienced before. I mean, I guess we should start by kind of explaining kind of what the mission is. We go for a week, we set up basically our own practice, and it's last year was 28 people, 10 dentists, and then the rest are like volunteers, pre-dental, pre-medical, team members, clinical team members, and just teenagers, like, doing everything. So and Noemi, the first time you signed up last, but the second time you signed up first. So you were like on the first day, both of you. When we talk about first time signups, we must mention though that Ramon was, talk about believing and bringing joy. Ramon was the first person ever to sign up to be a member of Key Elements, which is the educational platform, and another side of Joy, what brings me joy.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second there. It was just because of what I heard that day. And I told you, I mean, I was so impressed with that lecture, but with your energy. And I knew I had a long way to go with digital dentistry. I've been in practice for what? When I met you, 37 years. So I knew I needed someone to learn from. But I mean, it was just the way that presentation, it was on Smile Architect. And the way, I mean, you show your cases and your energy, that contagious burning passion, it really got me into it. I was just waiting for you to open your thing because I was gonna be signing there. Yes, I did, and I have to be really grateful. I know I have told you this. I have a lot to thank you for, and as I said earlier, for those listening, if you haven't had the opportunity to be with Karla in a lecture, you don't know what you're missing. You gotta do this. You gotta do this.
Karla, he's not saying this just to you, but I remember after that lecture, I was with Lindsay, and he said the exact same thing to Lindsay and I, that she's like, this girl, she has the most passion. And then so he was so excited about Key Elements and got us all of us excited for it.
I don't think I'll ever be able to, I don't think I'll ever be able to verbally express what that meant to me, because when you're talking about fear and struggle, talk about fear to put yourself out there, and something that now it's a little bit more common, but then having these platforms was not as common, right? So to put yourself out there in a very vulnerable way, and I still have, I'm actually going to show you guys. So this is a studio where I do the sessions. For the first session ever, I was like, I don't even know if anyone's going to show up. So the girls were little, they were very into Legos. So they put together like an audience of Legos.
Gosh, I love that.
I have two things. So I have the Legos, and then I'm gonna reach for it. And then I have I have all my awards in the office, but this is a DSD Speaker of the Year award. Almost this reminder, it's like there's something to share. Like you have something that I think could help people, and you got an award for it, so maybe some people will show up. So talk about being vulnerable. So I'll never be able to to thank you guys for just trusting the process right away. And going back to the mission, for trusting that too, you know, like we all didn't know the first time what we signed up for. Brittany was like, are we camping? Like, what? She's like, I'm in, but I don't even know what I'm doing. So that like blind trust that I've experienced from some of you guys is this very fulfilling and brings me so much joy. But back to Smile Again, Honduras, we do meaningful dentistry. We're not just doing extraction. So I know I wanted to do this, and I wanted to find a place because I am this interdisciplinary comprehensive dentistry, right? We're not doing full mouth reconstructions yet, but it was this, I wanted to find a place where we had chairs, maybe not like we do at home, but some way of doing meaningful comprehensive restorative dentistry. So we found this place, 7 chairs that work when they want to work, but and you know what, like or like not just operatories, but like chairs for us to sit. Like we don't all have chairs for us to sit, kind of thing, which makes me if anyone's listening that wants to donate dental chairs or money to buy some, maybe that's something we should buy. That just came to
that's a good
my
point.
mind. Oh, we have so many things that if anybody wants to donate that we need, but it was just really amazing because the first time around, so I found this place. And then I, reached out to Align, and we got Illumina to be able to like do scans. And then I reached out to all these labs, Nelson, Regos, and Technique, and Paramount. And there's like, okay, yeah, we're in. We'll do restorations. So the first one was like our first time, and we was hugely successful. But we were just kind of like trying to figure things out. The second time around, we were like, Noemi, you were in both. I don't know if you could tell. We're like, okay, we learned a lot. Now we're going to set up this practice. We had the girls' orphanage, the girls' school. There's an orphanage, there's a farm, there's a bunch of stuff happening in this really tiny town, 3 hours away from the capital of Honduras. And we were able to have like that full week. So we worked for about almost 5 full days, because one of the days is sort of a half day where we like give something to the girls' school and they give us a little show too, which is like it's a reset almost. But in those 5 days, we delivered almost $400,000 worth of dentistry. And I'm talking
Amazing.
1 million extractions, which Ramon did like 99% of them. Real restorative dentistry. There's a lot of course, like high sugar diet, no like, home care. So there's a lot like in kids, lots of anterior cavities and class 3s are completely destroyed. We did lots of almost like smile designs by hand, lots of those cases. But we also got to do like endos and same day, like multiple, like on the same patient, multiple endos and multiple buildups and multiple crown preps and delivery on the same day kind of thing. So we had a lab. So Paramount had like a mini lab, and Spring Ray gave us a MIDA. So we had same day dentistry. So it's this like, when you put all your dreams together, and then you have the key elements members that come to this mission trip. So you have this mindset, and you have filtered out all the things that almost don't matter. We're there for a reason. And we have so much fun, and we're singing and dancing while we're practicing. And it's this like talking about joy. Like this is what we're meant to serve. I think that's part of our like description, and on earth. But talk about like serving together. Practicing what we in theory want to do in our practice, doing things that we don't even do in our practices, all together as a team, helping each other. That's what it's meant to be. That's what we're here for.
It's a level of joy, everyone together. Like everyone, you see it, like everyone feels it. Oh yeah, it's just so
there's
fun.
a magic. There's a magic that happens around when you're doing things for the right reason. And it just came to my mind, the story on that first trip. And you might recall that day, the reason why I couldn't join, I was traveling with my family.
Yes.
I'm in Amsterdam in the morning, and all of a sudden, that was July 2004. All of a sudden, the news is that the internet was crashed, whatever was happening, but thousands of flights being canceled. So
2024,
the airspace, everything was on hold. It was crazy. So I'm there in Amsterdam looking at the news and I say, my God, everybody's now trying to get to Miami to start this trip tomorrow. The amazing thing, and think about blessings, is that by the end of the day, even with the craziness and thousands of flights, if people can recall about that day, thousands of flights being canceled, everybody made it to Miami.
I
And the
It was
remember,
next day it was like
miraculous.
insane.
you know,
No, no,
it's like
I
I was from
couldn't believe it.
Minneapolis. I was from Minneapolis. My flight got canceled, and then I ended up in New York. And I remember seeing it delayed, and then delayed again, and delayed again. I was like, "Oh my gosh! If they cancel it, I'm not going to be able to make it." So I ended up making it to Miami at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I remember we were all gathering that morning. But I was so happy, like I couldn't believe it. That next
But
day, it was
everybody
just
everybody
It
everyone.
was
made it. So I mean, think about blessings and the good things that happen when you're trying to do things for the right reasons. I just couldn't believe it because I was on my phone, just my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? These people are going to make it, and everybody made it. So that's
it's
part
it,
of the story we can forget about that first trip. So
oh my God. And you know what? I had forgotten. I probably blocked it because of the stress levels that brought to my life. But at the same time, it's like you're saying, like somehow the stars aligned when you're doing things
Yes.
with the right intentions. And
Yeah.
I think that if we always remember that when we're going through that struggle, like, you know, if you're doing it with the right intentions, I believe in this so much. You know, I do think that good things do happen to good people. If we're going with the intentions of doing something good. I mean, there's so many obstacles. We cannot take away the whole, like, we're going to Honduras, which is not like, it's probably on some list of like some country that you shouldn't travel to, right? But I don't know if you guys felt this. I've never felt unsafe. We
Never.
take precautions and we do all of that, but there's something about this like energy, almost like this bubble of like
There
happiness and
is.
safety that it feels around us when we're
That
there
is so
together.
true. Like when we're all walking together, no one is bothering us. No, everyone is just happy to see us, and it's true. It feels like a bubble, like
yeah,
protecting
Yeah,
us. I have
yeah.
not felt unsafe at all. And the hotel where we stay, everyone is friendly,
So
clean. The food is great. Like no one has gotten sick or anything. Well, maybe a
crazy.
little
Think
things, but
about that.
nothing like major.
Nothing major. I don't know about you guys, but we were having the meeting about like this year's trip, and I was like, you know, mosquitoes and health stuff, we had to take some precautions. And like, how is it possible that I have not been bitten once by
Me
any
neither.
mosquito? I'm not even saying getting sick. I'm just saying no mosquito. And I always get like destroyed by mosquitoes, like not once.
Not
So
once.
yeah, and I do think that life works that way. We're talking about a mission trip, which is the obvious thing. I'm thinking that maybe we're putting some like list of like protect these people, hopefully. But I do think in general in life, there are some situations where you feel taken advantage of, or there's situations where, and in practice, and because we're practicing dentistry and the three of us are practice owners too, you do feel that constant like dealing with people and dealing with people's self-interest, some, you know, and how to manage people to still steer the ship. But there will inevitably be always something that, you know, that happens to you, and not get jaded by that, you know, to not, like, we've all been burned. We could talk about those, but to not get jaded like that. I had a situation, and it wasn't a bad situation. It was like a heartbreak from a separation of a very long team member, and it wasn't for a bad reason. It actually had to do with the management styles, when we were in the process of me purchasing the practice, and you know, we lost someone that was kind of like, you know, you have soulmates in your like kind of like stages of your profession, and I was so heartbroken from that, and I literally like heartbroken physically, like my heart hurt, like, and I remember thinking and saying to myself, I am never going to allow to get this close to someone professionally. Like, I remember saying that to myself. I made a video to myself. I've never watched it, but I'm like, this is never going to happen to you ever again. And then when you live like that, then you're like removing the joy of having those interactions again and opening your heart again and having those amazing bonding experiences that I now have with some of my team members that feel like family, you know? So you just have to live life. That's going to happen. And just like, you know, like open the doors. Things will, happen. People will take advantage of you, but you're doing things for the right reason. The net will always be positive.
Yes, and I love what you said, because in that, you promise yourself not to let that affect again, right? And it's almost, people are in our lives at the right time for some sort of learning, right? Some sort of experience, of some sort of growth. And just because they're working at that time doesn't mean that they're going to be with us forever, like for different situations. It could be, that it could be that they move, or it could be that we're not aligning anymore, and just different reasons. And it's wise to remind ourselves that we cannot let that affect how we move on, because they were there at the right time for that reason. And if they're not here anymore, doesn't mean that anything's bad. It's just, and with the Honduras thing, I love what you said about, being because many people told me, like, you're going to Honduras, is so not safe, blah, blah, blah. But also, like, when we are determined that we're going to do something good and we're going to do it, we cannot let fear get on the way, because that takes away the love that we want to bring, right? It's like, if you're living in fear, you're not experiencing the love that is around. And that, for me, it was a decision that I talked to myself, actually, because my mom was the one, Latin mom, behind the scenes, like, you shouldn't leave your kids behind and go and take care of other kids when there's, something happens to you, all that. But then I said, if I made the decision that I'm going to go, I'm not going to go with fear. And once I made that decision, I just completely switched my energy to, I'm going to do the best I can and put my effort there. I'm not going to worry about it.
And you even got a little blessing reminder when we were there.
Yeah.
Remember?
That's right. The feathers, and yes. So, just a lot of lessons, right?
I mean, we could be talking all day about lessons and stories, and Karla, really appreciating sharing your journey and the information. I mean, and this story with us. We got to come to an end, unfortunately, but it would be nice if you could give the audience, the people listening, some of the takeaways of your journey. And I mean, we can all see your energy, your happiness, the joy that you have for the profession, for life and beyond. Can you share some of those tips for the audience? Takeaways, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I'm not sure I have 3. I'm not that wise, but I think what I've learned the most is when you stay authentic to who you are and what you believe, and you carry yourself with that transparency and authenticity, there's always going to be a room for you, and it's just so much easier to live life like that. So don't be something else that you're not. Just be yourself, and double down on it. I think authenticity is huge for me. I connect, and that way, even if it's like someone that's authentically very different from me, I will have a connection right away, instead of someone that I can tell, or like, so that happens to me a lot with speakers. When I'm seeing someone speak, and it's this, like, you can kind of tell there's this kind of like a million like filters going on. I'm like, I don't really connect. I don't relate. I don't, so I think being authentic, potentially one. I think believing in the goodness of people and humans. There's a lot going on in the world. There's so many things where you could draw negative energy from. So, like, not get jaded by situations, and surround yourself with that positive energy, and listen to positive things. Look, there's plenty of dentists, and there's plenty of things in our industry to complain about. Just try to surround yourself with the ones that are finding the positive, the glass half full kind of situation. It's going to take you so far. I think the third one is, you see, I do have 3. Wow, look at that.
I know.
I think the third one is, I mean, I guess it goes with the second one of like finding the right circle. find your joy, your core values, what really makes you you, and mentors, people that help you get to where you want to be, that allow you to see what's possible. You wouldn't even know me if I didn't have those key people in my life that showed me what's possible. Lead Mastermind, which is a mastermind of my women, like not only what's possible in terms of clinically and what we can do, but business wise and in your personal life and that deserve level. That I learned that from Amanda C. and things like that, right? I do think that if you really focus on those three, find your core values, surround yourself with people, have experienced life. There's so much more beyond our four walls. Experience life and definitely invest time and quality time with the people that you care about. Life is short. I guess we started with that and we could finish with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Love
Beautiful.
it. I think we should have another episode with Karla. We have a lot more to talk about, but yeah.
Are you bored yet?
Yeah, we have a lot of stories. Thank you, Karla. Thank you for honoring us, joining us today. We really have enjoyed your presence and listening to you and your stories. And as I said earlier, you can feel Karla's energy. It's just contagious. So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. And thank you for everybody listening for joining us again. It's been great having you all today. And thank you, Karla. Thank you, Noemi. And we look forward to see you in a future chapter.
Thank you, Karla.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And remember, joy is a choice.
Woohoo! Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.